Thank you. I would like to share again this evening, I think, some very fundamental issues that deals with our Constitution. And I think it's so important that we understand and that those whom that we put into office likewise understand the function and the jurisdiction that they have in their offices and the jurisdiction likewise of the United States government and also of our state government. Because there is guidelines, there is jurisdictions that the state has that the federal doesn't have. And there is some jurisdictions that the federal has that our state government does not have. But first of all, I'd like to share with you about our form of government, our representative form of government, our Republican form of government, that we elect our representatives to act on our behalf and to secure our God-given unalienable rights. So we the people have delegated certain powers to our Congress, meaning our Senate and House of Representatives, also known as the enumerated powers of the Constitution. I'd like to share those enumerated powers with us here this evening out of Article 1, Section 8. And it begins like this. Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises, to pay the debts and to provide for the common defense and the general welfare of the United States, but all duties, imposts, and excises shall be uniform throughout the United States. They have the power to borrow money on the credit of the United States. Maybe that was a big mistake, you think? $20 trillion. To regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states and with the Indian tribes. To establish a uniform rule of naturalization and a uniform laws on the subject of bankruptcies throughout the United States. To coin money, regulate the value thereof, and of foreign coin, and to fix the standard of weights and measures. To provide for the punishment of counterfeiting the securities and the current coin of the United States. To establish post offices and post roads. To promote the progress of science and the useful arts by securing for limited times to the authors and the inventors the exclusive right to their respective writings and discoveries. To constitute tribunals inferior to the Supreme Court. To define and punish piracies and felonies committed on the high seas and offenses against the law of nations. To declare war. Grant letters of marque and reprisal, and make rules concerning captures on land and water. To raise and support armies, but no appropriation of money to that use shall be for longer than a term of 2 years. To provide and maintain a navy. To make rules for the government and regulation of the land and the naval forces. To provide for the calling forth the militia, to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrections, and repel invasions. To provide for organizing, arming, and disciplining the militia, and for governing such part of them as may be employed in the service of the United States, reserving to the states respectively the appointment of the officers and the authority of training the militia according to the discipline prescribed by Congress. To exercise exclusive legislation in all cases whatsoever over the district not exceeding 10 miles square, as may by cession of particular states and the acceptance of Congress become the seat of government of the United States, and to exercise like authority over all places purchased by the consent of the legislature of the state in which the same shall be, for the erection of forts, magazines, arsenals, dockyards, and other needful buildings, and to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers and all other powers vested by this Constitution in the government of the United States or in any department or officer thereof. I'd like to share with you again the 10th Amendment, in which that we have dealt with a number of times, but these were the delegated powers that were given to the federal government. And now it said the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. So here we have that which is reserved to the states. Let's read some of the things that are prohibited by the federal Constitution for the states. Article 10 of Section 1 says, no state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, pass a bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. This is some of the things the states are prohibited to do. No state shall, without the consent of the Congress, lay any imposts, duties, or imports, or exports, except what may be absolutely necessary for the executing its inspection laws, and the net produce of all duties and imposts laid by any state on imports or exports shall be for the use of the Treasury of the United States, and all such laws shall be subject to the revision and the control of Congress. No state shall, without the consent of Congress, lay any duty or tonnage, keep troops or ships of war in time of peace, enter into any agreement or compact with any other state or with the foreign power, or engage in war unless actually invaded or in such an imminent danger as will not admit of delay. So I think it spells out quite clearly the enumerated powers of the federal government, and likewise I believe that it spells out the things in which the states do not have power to do. And yet we hear so much about our federal government being the supreme law of the land. How many of you hear that quite often? But the Constitution says, this Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made, or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. And the judges in every state shall be bound thereby, and anything in the Constitution or the laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. So the federal government does have and are the supreme power and the supreme law of the land in the enumerated powers. Those things as the powers that have been delegated to the federal government by the states and by the people, and therefore there they are supreme. But only those things that are delegated to them and that are forbidden by the states to take that authority. I want to read a little bit out of our state constitution. that I think is a very powerful and profound writing. We have dealt with it a number of times, but yet I think it's good I think it's fitting with what we're going to be doing here this evening and with the portion of the Constitution that I've already read. In the state constitution, Article 2, Bill of Rights, in order to assert our rights, acknowledge our duties, and proclaim the principles upon which our government is founded, we declare vestment of political power. All political power is vested in and derived from the people. Do we not understand that the people are the sovereign? They are the sovereign even over the federal government. The federal Constitution gives them that authority. We, the people, are the sovereign. Likewise, in the state of Colorado, we, the people, are the sovereign. Vestment of political power. And all government of right originates from the people, is founded upon their will only, and is instituted solely for the good of the whole. Section 2. The people of this state have the sole and exclusive right of governing themselves as a free, sovereign, independent state, and to alter and abolish their constitution and form of government whenever they may deem it necessary to their safety and happiness, provided such change be not repugnant to the Constitution of the United States. So, it so declares that we are a sovereign state, that we are a free and separate, independent state from the federal government. I believe the very design of our government today allows each and every state of the Union to be a sovereign state. As we all look at our states, our several states, do we not all have a state constitution? Do we not all have a governor? We all have a House of Representatives and a Senate. Each state has their own judicial powers. We come to the county and we have our local county government. We have our Board of Commissioners. We have our school board. We have the city government. So would you agree with me then that we are capable and have the authority to govern ourselves, separate from the federal government only in those delegated powers that was given them? The very design tells me that the state has its own right to govern itself. If we have a governor, we have a House of Representatives, we have a Senate, we have our own judicial system. Was it not by design that we would govern ourselves without the intrusion of an overreaching federal government? How would it be today if we had no federal Board of Education? We had no federal EPA. We had no federal Homeland Security. We had no federal health care. We had no federal subsidies, no foreign aid, no federal lending agencies, and so on and so on and so on. Could we not be a free and sovereign state if we didn't have the intrusion of those things in our state today? And those things, they do not have the power and the authority and the jurisdiction to do. How much do you think we could save? And how much do you think today that we could enjoy our liberty if we were not burdened with these things that our federal government has come and intruded into our state and into our lives with? If we could downsize the government back to its constitutional authority and its constitutional operation and function, I believe this country would flourish again, and the people could rejoice and be happy and find that which we have enjoyed for the past 200 and some years. But in my opinion, and take it only for my opinion, we are facing dark days if we do not have a turnaround. Thank you.